She cheated, I tracked her. Airport ambush. My wife swore it was just drinks with a colleague on the cruise, but my location sharing told a different story, leading me to the baggage claim and his arms. Silence. Welcome to Cheating Story Exposed. Real stories, real justice, no sugarcoating. You know what? I notice many of you watching haven't hit that subscribe button yet. Here's the thing, we drop stories like this every single day. Stories about people who got played, got smart, and got even. If you want to see how these situations really end, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. My name is David. I'm a data analyst. Numbers don't lie, and neither does a well-placed GPS tracker. I always thought I was a pretty good husband. I worked hard, provided a comfortable life for Sarah, my wife, and tried to be attentive. We'd been married for 7 years. 7 years I thought were mostly happy. Then came the cruise. She'd been talking about it for months, a work conference in the Caribbean. All expenses paid, networking opportunities, the works. I'd encouraged her to go, thinking it was a great chance for her career. Now I wish I'd paid closer attention. The first red flag was the late-night texts. She'd clutch her phone like it was a winning lottery ticket, a secretive smile playing on her lips. When I asked who she was talking to, she'd brush it off. Just work stuff, she'd say, her eyes darting away. I didn't buy it. My instincts were screaming. I'm a data analyst, remember, I see patterns, and the pattern here was deception, so I started small, a little digging. I checked her work calendar, no mention of a conference. I casually brought it up with her boss during a company event. He seemed confused. Sarah's on vacation, right? He'd asked. Said she was taking some personal time. That was it, the confirmation I needed. But I needed proof, concrete, undeniable proof. I considered hiring a private investigator, but the thought of a stranger snooping around felt intrusive. Besides, I trusted myself more. I had a plan, a data-driven plan. I installed a simple GPS tracker in her luggage, a small, discreet device that would give me her location in real time. I felt guilty, sure. But the alternative, living a lie, felt worse. She left for the cruise a few days later. Said she'd call when she got settled. I waited, and waited. No call, just more late-night texts. The tracker confirmed she was on the cruise ship, but it also showed something else. A series of late-night excursions. Dinners at secluded restaurants on the islands they visited. Hikes to remote beaches, all without me. I started cross-referencing her location data with social media posts from other cruise passengers. It was tedious work, but I found him. A man in his late 30s, handsome, well-dressed. He was in almost every picture where Sarah was, always nearby, always smiling at her. His name was Mark. I found his LinkedIn profile. He worked at the same company as Sarah in the same department. The colleague she'd mentioned, that's when the rage started to simmer. I tried to control it, to analyze it, but it was there. A burning, corrosive anger. I knew I couldn't confront her over the phone. I needed to see her face, to hear her lies, to expose her. So I booked a flight to Miami, the same airport she was flying into after the cruise. I checked her flight information online. It was easy enough to find. I even booked the same disembarkation shuttle from the port to the airport. I wanted to be there, to witness it all. The flight to Miami felt like an eternity. Every minute was an agonizing reminder of her betrayal. I replayed our wedding vows in my head, for better or for worse. Had she even meant them? I arrived in Miami early, grabbed a coffee and found a quiet corner in the airport. I watched the monitors, waiting for her flight to arrive. I felt a strange anticipation and dread. The flight landed on time. I made my way to the baggage claim area. I stood back, trying to blend in with the crowd. I saw her first. She looked different, relaxed, happy, too happy. Then I saw him, Mark. He walked up to her, wrapped his arms around her, and kissed her, not a quick peck. A long, lingering kiss, right there in the middle of the baggage claim. That was it. The dam broke. The rage that had been simmering inside me exploded. I walked towards them, my heart pounding in my chest. She saw me. Her eyes widened in shock. Her face went pale. "David," she stammered. "Surprise," I said, my voice cold and controlled. Mark looked confused. "Who's this?" he asked. "This is my husband," Sarah said, her voice barely a whisper. Mark's face mirrored Sarah's. Shock, disbelief. "Husband," he repeated, looking from Sarah to me. I didn't know." "Of course you didn't," I said, my eyes fixed on Sarah. "Because she didn't tell you." Silence was deafening. People around us started to stare. I didn't care. I had waited for this moment. I had planned for this moment. "What's going on here?" Mark asked, his voice trembling. "This is my wife," I repeated, emphasizing the word wife. "And you, Mark, are the man she's been cheating on me with." Sarah started to cry. "David, please," she begged. "Let's talk about this somewhere else." "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "I know everything, the texts, the dinners, the hikes, everything." I pulled out my phone and showed them the GPS tracker data. The map showing their late-night excursions, the timestamps, the locations. "I tracked you, Sarah," I said. "I know exactly what you've been up to." Mark was speechless. He looked at Sarah, then back at me. I had no idea she was married," he said, his voice shaking. "Don't play the innocent victim," I said. "You knew exactly what you were doing." "David, please," Sarah sobbed. "This isn't what it looks like." "Oh, really?" said, raising an eyebrow. "Because it looks like you've been having an affair with this man for the past week, on a cruise I paid for." I turned to Mark. "Enjoy your flight home, Mark. I'm sure your wife will be thrilled to hear all about your little vacation." His face drained of color. "I'm not married," he mumbled. "Oh, you're not?" I said, smirking. "Then I guess you're free to pursue this relationship with Sarah. Good luck with that." I turned to Sarah. "I want a divorce," I said. "And I want you out of my house by the end of the week." She started to wail. "Don't worry," I said. "I'll make sure you have plenty of time to pack. After all, you're an expert at packing for secret trips." I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. I knew I had won. The feeling was complicated. Relief, certainly, but also sadness. 7 years, gone, just like that, but I knew I had done the right thing. I had confronted the truth. I had exposed her lies, and I had reclaimed my life. I walked out of the airport, took a deep breath of the Miami air, and smiled. It was over, but that wasn't the end of the story. Not quite. A few weeks later, I received a call from Sarah's company. They had launched an internal investigation into her conduct on the cruise. Apparently, she had used company funds to pay for some of her expenses with Mark, and she had lied about the purpose of the trip. She was fired. I felt a pang of guilt, but only for a moment. She had brought this on herself. She had made the choices. She had to live with the consequences. A few months later, the divorce was finalized. It was surprisingly amicable. She didn't fight me on anything. She knew she was in the wrong. I kept the house, the car, and my dignity. I started dating again, met someone new, someone honest, someone who respected me. I learned a valuable lesson from this experience. Trust your instincts, gather evidence, and never be afraid to confront the truth. Some people might call me vengeful. They might say I went too far, but I disagree. I simply sought justice. I exposed a lie, and I reclaimed my life, and that, my friends, is a victory worth celebrating. You know, it's funny. I always thought of myself as a logical, rational guy. I like things to be orderly, predictable. Sarah was spontaneous. I thought that was a good thing, a balance. I was wrong. The cruise was supposed to be a belated anniversary trip. We missed our actual anniversary because of work. I was swamped with a project, and she was supposedly prepping for this big conference. So we agreed to celebrate later. The cruise seemed perfect. A week of relaxation, sunshine, and reconnecting. Except I couldn't go. My project ran way over schedule. I was working day and night. I felt terrible about it. I knew Sarah was disappointed. She kept saying it was okay, but I could see it in her eyes. So I told her to go anyway. Enjoy the cruise, network, get some sun. I'd catch up with her later. We'd do something special when she got back. That was my mistake. She sent me pictures, smiling selfies on the beach, photos of fancy dinners, group shots with her colleagues. Everything seemed normal, too normal. I started noticing little things, the way she avoided my calls, the vague answers she gave when I asked about her day. The way she'd cut our conversations short. My gut was telling me something was wrong. I tried to dismiss it. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was just stressed out from work. But the feeling wouldn't go away. Then came the lipstick. I was doing laundry a few days after she got back. I found a shirt of mine she'd worn. There it was, a faint smudge of lipstick on the collar, not her shade. I confronted her. She denied it, of course, said it must have been from someone at the conference. A random encounter. I didn't believe her. That night after she fell asleep, I did something I'm not proud of. I went through her phone. I know, it's a violation of privacy. But I had to know the truth. I found the texts, hundreds of them, to Mark, flirty messages, late-night confessions, plans for secret rendezvous. My blood ran cold. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. All the doubts, all the suspicions were confirmed. She was cheating on me. I didn't wake her up. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there, staring at the phone, numb with disbelief. I spent the rest of the night piecing together the puzzle. I read every text, every email, every message. I learned everything. They had met at the conference. They had connected instantly. They had spent every night together. They had even planned a secret getaway after the cruise. A weekend in Miami. That's when I decided to take action. I couldn't let her get away with this. I couldn't let her continue to lie to me. I had to confront her, but I wanted to do it on my terms, so I booked the flight to Miami. The same flight she was taking. I booked the same Disembarkation Shuttle. I wanted to be there when she arrived, to see her face when she realized I knew everything. The flight was excruciating. I replayed the texts in my head over and over again. Each one a fresh stab of pain. I imagined the confrontation, what I would say, how she would react. I planned every detail. I wanted to be calm, controlled. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of seeing me upset. I wanted to be strategic, to expose her lies. To make her pay for what she had done, I wanted to be victorious, to reclaim my life. To move on. When the plane landed, I felt a surge of adrenaline. This was it. The moment of truth. I followed her to the baggage claim. I watched her as she waited for her luggage. She seemed nervous, anxious. Then I saw him, Mark. He walked up to her, put his arm around her, and kissed her. That was my cue. I walked towards them, my heart pounding. She saw me. Her face turned white. "David," she said, her voice trembling. "Hello." "Sarah," I said, my voice calm and steady. "Fancy meeting you here." The look on her face was priceless. Shock, fear, and guilt all mixed together. Mark looked confused. "Who is this?" he asked. "This is my husband," Sarah said, her voice barely audible. Mark's eyes widened. "Husband?" he said, looking at Sarah in disbelief. "You didn't tell me you were married." "That's because she's a liar," I said, cutting her off. "She's been lying to both of us." I pulled out my phone and showed them the texts, the pictures. The flight information, the shuttle reservation. "I know everything," I said. "I know about the conference, I know about Mark, I know about the weekend in Miami, I know everything." Sarah started to cry. "David, please," she begged. "Let's talk about this somewhere else." "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "I've seen enough, I've heard enough, I'm done." I turned to Mark. "You seem like a nice guy," I said. "I'm sure you didn't know she was married, but now you do, so I suggest you run. Run far away from this woman." Mark looked at me, then at Sarah. He seemed lost and confused. I don't know what to say," he stammered. "Just go," I said. "Save yourself the trouble." Mark nodded slowly. He turned and walked away. I turned back to Sarah. "As for you," I said, "I want a divorce, and I want you out of my house by the end of the week." She started to sob uncontrollably. "Don't worry," I said. "I'll make sure you have everything you need. I'm not a monster. I just want you out of my life." I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. I knew I had won. It was over. She cheated. I tracked her. Airport ambush. I found lipstick on his collar after a work dinner. So I accessed her iCloud and saw her booking a connecting flight in Miami with him, and when she did, I just couldn't believe it. Shock. But that was just the beginning. Subscribe to Cheating Story Exposed for more stories of betrayal, revenge, and justice. And don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with your friends. You never know who might need it.